Hey everyone, it's Trace again. Thanks for tuning in to Test Tube Plus. This is episode 3 of 5 in our series on alcohol, so make sure you watch the first 2 as well. Yesterday we had Natalia Reagan and we talked about a whole bunch of stuff related to evolution and how our brains process alcohol. Definitely watch that one. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about whether our society is alcoholic. So the U.S. drinking age and the laws surrounding alcohol in the U.S. have been a little bit convoluted, to say the least. Drinking age laws are not, I say laws because it's not one law. There's no federal drinking age. There are state drinking ages that the federal government kind of forces to be 21. Now, let me explain that. Before the minimum age drinking law, 16 to 20-year-olds were the most common drunken drivers. But when the drinking age was raised, the number of fatal crashes involving a young driver dropped significantly from 61% in 1982 to only 31% in 1985. So even though state laws were the ones governing drinking ages, there were times when, like, Ohio had an 18 drinking age and Michigan was 21. So the federal government tied highway funding to state-level laws on drinking age. And in doing so, everyone raised their drinking ages to 21. Now, pretty much all states have a 21-year-old drinking age. Some people think it's 21 because of English common law. 21 is the age at which a person could vote and become a knight. But at the end of the day, no American is going to become a knight. It's just an arbitrary age, 21, that they picked. FDR led the charge in the U.S. to lower the drinking age in some states to 18 during World War II, but that didn't really last long because of increased traffic fatalities. And I say that most places have drinking ages that are 21 because there have been loopholes throughout history too. Up until 1995, Louisiana made it illegal for minors to purchase alcohol, but it wasn't illegal to sell to minors. So if a cop caught a minor with alcohol, the store owner who sold them the alcohol doesn't get prosecuted, just the person who purchased it if they were underage. Indian reservations, which we mentioned earlier, are considered domestic sovereigns. It's their own nation. And therefore, they manage their own drinking laws, though most have enforced a 21-year-old age limit anyway. But worries over drunkenness pervade pretty much all of society, and they hit their peak in the early 1900s, and there was an attempt to ban it altogether, which now we refer to collectively as prohibition. Prohibition lasted from 1920 to 1933, and what they were attempting to do is reduce crime and solve social problems and reduce the tax burden created by prisons and poorhouses and improve health and hygiene, and all of those things were somehow tied to the consumption of alcohol. Of course, we now know Prohibition failed because of the will of the American people. We're very innovative when it comes to our drink. The 18th Amendment prohibited the manufacture, sale, and transportation of alcoholic beverages, or intoxicating beverages as they called them. It did not outlaw, you may have noticed, possession or consumption of alcohol, just transportation, sale, and manufacture. Therefore, people found endless ways of smuggling it and then, possessing and consuming it. But we don't have enough time to get into all of those things. Maybe we'll just do a Prohibition week or something. If you're interested, you can tell us. There are tons of loopholes in this amendment. That's why it's important to craft legal language well. Americans were allowed to obtain wine for religious purposes. So enrollments at churches and synagogues, and it saw a huge increase during Prohibition. The number of self-professed rabbis who could obtain wine for their congregations increased a lot. Pharmacists were allowed to dispense whiskey by prescription, so bootleggers found that running pharmacies could be extra profitable, and the number of registered pharmacists in the state of New York tripled during Prohibition. In the end, it obviously just it didn't work. The legal language wasn't there, and people wanted to drink their alcohol. Alcohol consumption fell at the beginning of Prohibition, but ended up increasing overall throughout Prohibition because it was like this cool, hip, anti-counterculture kind of feel to it. And, like they always say with books, if you want everybody to read a book, ban it. And this is a similar idea. Like a lot of unregulated illegal substances, the alcohol itself became more dangerous to consume. No one was looking at what people were putting in their alcohol. They could water it down, but they could also put other stuff in there. On top of that, Prohibition caused crime to increase. and criminals to become organized and create these huge rings and mafias. The court and prison systems were overwhelmed with people who were consuming, manufacturing alcohol. The corruption of public officials was out of control. Tax revenues fell. There was increased government spending to try and handle all this. And then the side effect of prohibition, some drinkers just went and switched to hard drugs, many of which weren't illegal at the time. We are not the only country to attempt prohibition, so don't look negatively upon us. Canada tried it from 1911 to 1920. Australia, similar time period until 1928. Soviet Union from 1914 to 23. Finland from 1919 to 32. And that's just a few of them that tried prohibition. There are other alternatives to prohibition, though, and that is a study found that the cost of alcohol and the number of places to buy it play a major role in how communities suffer from the effects of binge drinking. So, for example, when the price of alcohol goes up 10%, the consumption of alcohol declines by 7%. Now, you can only make it so expensive before people are just going to go back to prohibition stuff. They're going to find a different way to get it. But if you can find that balance, you're going to decrease a lot of your consumption while getting more tax revenue. The World Health Organization has also outlined a few strategies, like having policies in place to catch alcoholics before they get too bad and start affecting wider society, addressing the marketing of alcoholic beverages, not marketing alcoholic beverages to children or marketing them in a way that makes them kind of seem more fun than they really are, and not saying, please drink responsibly, stuff like that. And adjusting pricing and availability. Some states like Michigan, where I'm from, you can't put alcohol on sale. In other states, that's not the case. In some states, they make it so you can't buy alcohol on Sundays or after certain times or before certain times. All of those are ways to kind of curb our consumption. But to wrap it up, people go to any length they can to get their booze. If you make it completely illegal, they will find a way around that. But when it comes to getting booze into our bodies, even when it's legal, we're going to go to the extremes because we're humans, and I think everybody can expect that. You're going to have to come back tomorrow to find out more about that, though. Seriously, you can consume alcohol through your eyeballs. That's just a hook. Come back tomorrow. States could make drinking ages lower. Let me know down in the comments about how you feel about that. Any state could make their drinking age lower. Do you want your state to have a lower age? Tell us in the comments. And subscribe for more Test Tube Plus. And if you haven't already, watch yesterday's episode and the day before. Again, Natalia was here yesterday and it was awesome. And make sure you keep coming back, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching Test Tube Plus.